Hey guys, Rebel Engine 95, recording live from a Will County prison cell. I tried to get this video in particular out a little sooner, but things happen. The reason it was important to me to try to get this video out specifically is that, for those of you who haven't known, Rooster Teeth has been effectively shut down. They're still posting some content on the YouTube channel, so I don't know. I don't want to spread any false information, but as we all know, Death Battle was previously Screw Attack. They just had a channel name change, and Screw Attack was part of the Rooster Teeth merger, so we don't know what happens with Death Battle from this point on. A lot of the artists were kind of doomsaying it, saying, like, I don't know where I'm gonna, work now, but we just don't have any information. I think all we can do is hope for the best, and I didn't want to just stop posting because I do want to try to keep things alive. They've done things like they've posted Death Battle related content. They've done Death Battle casts, so who knows? But I just wanted to get something out there. Just, if I have to rename this something else because Death Battle's not a thing anymore, then, whatever. But, yeah, so this is a video that actually came out. This is an idea for a fight that actually came about from a Brandon Yates video, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, actually, that's pretty good. So this fight is Jolyne Kujo versus Vanessa, I forget her last name, it's gonna be in the thumbnail, from Black Clover. Obviously, because their powers revolve around strings or thread or whatever, but also they have things like, they were both imprisoned for pretty much their entire lives. They both come from, reputable families, but also they, join a ragtag group of misfits. They're both complete degenerates. But aside from that, yeah, no, they're both, like, this is actually a pretty good fight. If you're wondering why I look like I'm stuttering a bit, it's because it's fucking freezing outside. And I'm in my car, and the heat's not turned on, so, yeah, I might be a little, while I'm talking. But yeah, so Jolyne. So Jolyne is a stand user, and as we know, with exception, stands cannot be killed by other stands or cannot be physically harmed by other stands. Actually, Jolyne herself is one of those exceptions, because her stand, Stone Free, is actually one giant thread that's wound up into a stand, sort of like Hierophant, and not only does it have the ability to unravel itself and, use its thread to do anything from, like, become a grappling hook, to grab things, to, wrap around people, but it also gives her that same ability to unravel her own body, similar to as if she was the stand. And in that form, she's actually able to combat other stands. So like I said, that and Chili Pepper and Empress and all that are part of that exception. Or those exceptions, rather. And of course her stand, Sticky Fingers, has the same sort of, not quite to the degree that combat stands like Star Platinum and Crazy Diamond have, but she, it is a fast and strong stand, and it is capable of also winding up its, it's capable of, like, tightening and winding its body tighter so that it can actually hit with a greater force, to the point where at its maximum it can hit with the force of, quote unquote, a small, like, an extremely small meteor. So it does have a phenomenal power output. Jolyne herself, like most JoJo's characters, are very strategic and capable of, winning through fast thought and whatnot. But, yeah, she is, she is one of the, I would say one of the high-end JoJo characters just due to who she's fought and whatnot, but JoJo's also operates on really fucking stupid principles, like in Jolyne's case, how she was able to counter Poochie's stand to turn anything inside out by having Stone Free, her stand, turn her into a Mobius strip, so she geometrically could not, because it's a shape that geometrically cannot be turned inside out, which I think is kind of stupid. I don't think that's how that works, but still. Yeah, but anyway, on to Vanessa. So Vanessa is a wizard of the Black Bulls, who is the daughter of the Queen of the Witches. Now, the witches in Black Clover aren't like witches in something like Harry Potter, where it's just a female wizard. Witches are actually like a separate, isolated people in that kingdom, and they're actually sort of like taboo. They utilize like ancient lost magics that are considered forbidden and whatnot. So they're really like a cast aside people. Vanessa, being the daughter of the Queen of the Witches, actually, she was so curious about the outside world that her mother kept her in a literal giant bird cage her entire life, to the point where she nearly went insane using her magic to construct friends to talk to. Her magic, by the way, being thread magic. So she can manipulate magical threads to do all sorts of things. She can create constructs out of them. She can, cast them to grab objects. She can create traps with them to, like, sort of bind people. She can even control people like a marionette by grabbing a hold of their limbs and making them do things. But probably her most powerful spell would be the red thread of fate, or Rouge, as she likes to call it, because it creates a little cat that she's named Rouge. Now, because they never really go too much into it in the anime, and I never read the manga, I thought Rouge was like a familiar, and it was just always around her. As it turns out, this is a spell that she has to cast, and it uses up a considerable amount of magic to perform. So, yeah, that's unfortunate for her. Also, it appears that it can be, like, overpowered. See, the red thread of fate, I should probably explain what it does. The red thread of fate actually manipulates fate. It manipulates the odds of probability in her favor. Again, in the manga, it just says it manipulates things in the favor of the user, and whoever's like close to her. But in the anime, they gave it a proper inscription, basically, like a wish, pretty much, that it follows, and that wish was no harm would ever come to no harm would come to a member of the Black Bulls while the spell is active, which has also been turned against them because they've had members of the Black Bulls be possessed, and they couldn't be harmed while they were fighting their teammates because they were a member of the Black Bulls. On the other hand, this only works on direct harm. It doesn't apply to, like, again, things like being taken control of, things like being subdued, being trapped and whatnot, like anything that wouldn't actually harm the person, but would not be something they would want to have happen to them, that would be fair game. But other than that, Vanessa's also a very brilliant strategist, and especially when she works with her teammates, like how she was able to take on an opponent who was many, many times stronger and faster than them by using, what was his name? The portal guy. By, using her threads in combination with his portals to be able to, like, basically infinitely attack the guy. But anyway, how do I think this fight would go? Well, one issue is, of course, there's the stand issue, right? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I brought this up before. The stand issue, as it pertains to Death Battle, is that because of the nature of stands not being able to be harmed by non-stands except when they are, it brings up a problem because it severely limits the amount of, like, good fights that can happen as a result. You either need an opponent who's got something similar enough to a stand, like a persona or something, or somebody who has an ability that would let them interact with stands just by the nature of what stands are. So, like, stands are considered fighting spirit or mental energy. So if you have somebody who can manipulate that, then that's something they can do. Or you just have to, in the case of Dio Alucard, you just have to have somebody so overpowered that the fact that the opponent has a stand doesn't really affect the fight. A stand isn't so much of an auto win anymore. Even though the stand kind of was the reason for Dio winning that. But the point is, it's incredibly unfair in most cases to put a stand user against somebody who isn't like another stand user in a death battle. However, I think the fact that Vanessa also has with Rouge, she also has it's not a stand, but she has something that allows her to basically not be harmed. She can manipulate fate, manipulate luck pretty much. Not directly, but she can make it so that fate is on her side. So, I mean, that kind of balances it out, I think. The real question is, like I said, Rouge's luck can be sort of, I don't want to say luck, but its ability can be used up, more or less, when an opponent with such, such amazing power, when she's so outclassed by her opponent that, they can basically fight through fate, or rather, fate can't bend itself enough to account for the difference in power. Like when she fought that, what was his face? The one, demon-possessed guy, who was, one of the 3 strongest demon-possessed guys. When she and the Black Bulls fought him, she would have taken a punch, and then Rouge just vanished because it was oh, he's so strong. At least this is how I interpreted it. I don't know if there was an actual given explanation for it, but Rouge just kind of vanished. And my thought was, this guy's so strong that it basically used up all of the, it's not luck, but luck as a way of explaining it. He used up all of her luck with one attack, because she could only be so lucky to survive so many. That's the way that's not an official way to do it, but the point is, it's not an auto win for Vanessa, right? Just because she can't be harmed, or that luck is on her, or fate is on her side, doesn't mean that she just can't be beaten. And Jolyne is a character that has significant power, so it's not Jolyne won't be able to beat her if given the chance. Their powers do, for practical purposes, their powers do sort of act very similar. The main difference is, and again, here's the stand thing coming in, non-stand users, unless they have an ability that allows them to, by the nature of what a stand is, like Kenshiro did, can't see a stand either. Kenshiro was able to see a person's aura, and the aura of a living being, or their fighting spirit, rather, and because a stand is literally composed of a person's fighting spirit, he was able to see the stand. I got a lot of shit in the comments section for predicting that was going to happen in that fight. The video's been deleted, but because it's over 2 years old, but And a lot of people told me that was, well, it's bullshit, that's not how JoJo's works and everything, and et cetera, et cetera. But the point is, Vanessa's not going to be able to see Stone Free. So if she is casting threads, she's not going to be able to know where Jolyne's threads are. Now, that's part one of the issue. Part two of the issue is that, this Vanessa is more of a supporting character. She doesn't usually fight on her own. Like I said, she's very good at trapping, very good at, keeping people subdued, but she's not particularly great at, killing. Her power set doesn't really lend her to be able to kill very effectively. So whereas Jolyne, like I said, Stone Free being able to, at max power, be like a small meteor, that's pretty convincing that Jolyne would be able to kill somebody with that. So if you can't tell, I'm leaning towards Jolyne in this. Not because JoJo's character, not because, it's not because of the stand issue. The stand issue is a factor in it. It's not just, oh, well, she has a stand, this person doesn't have a stand, JoJo's characters win. It's the fact that there isn't really that ability to interact with the stand that you would need in order to win a fight like this. Like I said, in order to beat a JoJo's character, you'd either have to have something similar to a stand, you would have to be able to interact with the stand in some way, even if it's just being able to see it, or you would have to be so much more powerful, or you as an individual would have to be on par in terms of power with the stand, right? So that going against the stand isn't like an auto loss. And Vanessa only really sort of meets one of those criteria, and it's not necessarily being as powerful as the stand, it's having an ability that can at least for some amount of time, nullify the stand, as in the red thread of fate being able to make her unharmable. But like I said, that uses up magical power to do it. It is a spell she has to cast, and it is a spell that drains her of magic as it is active. So how, it's not like a permanent solution. She's not invincible, and even if she was, Jolyne's pretty well protected by Stone Free, and she's going to have a hard time, just as impossible of a task, killing Jolyne, especially when she can't see the stand. So, yeah, I think Jolyne takes this. But, yeah, let's just keep our heads up, guys. Let's hope that Death Battle pulls through. If I hate to shill for them, but if you're not there is the Death Battle exclusive membership that was separate from Rooster Teeth. I would think that's the best means to support them right now. If you're not subscribed to that, I would consider it if you want to see Death Battle in the future. But like I said, let's just keep our hopes up and hope for the best. But as for now, Verbal 95, see ya.